Good morning. Sure, we got a green light. We have a green light. And we can just chit chat while I get ready. I did a quick scan of the news, what y'all talking about, what y'all concerned about this morning. And I wanted to talk about, the fact that you guys are concerned that the stock market is crashing. Okay. So if you're new here, my name is Tamira. I have over 30 years of sales, marketing, and leadership experience. I actually spent, 7 years working for one of the largest banks in the United States. I was a licensed financial services professional and representative. So I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. If you're here thinking I'm about to give you a bunch of get rich quick advice, I can tell you that's not going to happen. I don't swim in those waters because they're dangerous and I enjoy my freedom. So I'm going to talk about this from the perspective of someone who's been successfully building a business online since 2013. Okay. And I think the big thing is to not freak out, right? So if you are a coach, you have an online business, if you are an affiliate marketer, direct seller, e-commerce, make sure you hit that button up here and that you follow for more marketing, mindset, and I don't know what I was about to say, but I should have been saying monetization is what you want to make sure you not only follow for, but that you also click that bell so you get notifications when I go live. Okay. So come on in. Let me know where you are watching from. We're going to talk about, the stock market, right? Because if you are selling online, let me know in the comments. Drop a 1 in the comments if you are building any type of business, if you are selling online, right? Because you've probably hearing all kinds of, oh my God, run for the hills and all of that. And I don't think that's what you should do. I don't think that's what you should do. Now, I'm also not about to give you, stock advice because number one, I'm no longer licensed to. And stock advice is not something you do to the masses. Stock advice is something you give on an individual basis because each person is going to be different in their propensity to take risks. Okay. Each person is going to be different in how much risk they are willing to take, right? Like, for example, my dad pretty much has zero propensity for risk. He's just not a risk taker, and that's okay, right? So that's, one extreme is someone who is not willing to take any amount of risk, right? Another extreme is those who are highly speculative. That's another extreme that does exist. People who, invest large amounts of money in, precious metals and even crypto. Those people are a lot more speculative. They tend to take on a lot of risk. And now I know this might sound contrarian to a lot of what you have probably been hearing lately. And I can explain that because I was actually a licensed professional You call it programming, you call it grooming, you call it whatever you want to. But as a licensed professional, I know the law. In fact, I had to take an exam to be licensed that was all legal based. Okay. And so, knowing that information, I'm not going to put myself at risk, because it's not just monetary penalties that one could face, it also includes the possibility of jail time. And I don't know about you, but I'm just not interested in that. So no, I will not be giving you stock advice here. But what I will be giving you is actionable business advice. And more so, we're really going to dig into mindset and self-concept here. So if you don't know what self-concept is, you're going to want to check out the Miracle Journal, okay? So the Miracle Journal is a great resource for improving your self-concept, because especially as women, we tend to definitely have a lot of self-esteem. We tend to have a lot of confidence, but the way we have been beaten down by the world impacts like our self concept, which sounds like I'm not worthy. I have to work 10 times as hard as everyone else. That's self concept, okay? And so during times like this, self concept can really come back and bite you in the butt, okay? It can really bite you in the butt if you, one, don't have the financial literacy and knowledge, and it's okay. My dad is an electrical engineer. I don't know jack about electrical engineering. So I would never try to tell him and try to overtalk him on electrical engineering, because I don't know nothing about that. Same with my brother. My brother is excellent at HVAC. He's been doing it for close to 30 years. So I would never try to talk to my brother about HVAC and tell him what to do when it comes to HVAC, because that is his space. So me being ignorant on electrical engineering, me being ignorant on HVAC has nothing to do with my self-worth, because there's no way for me to know everything about everything. There's just no way. In fact, I know very little about it. And to be honest with you, I don't want to know anything about it. That's not a reflection on my brother. That's not a reflection on my father. It's not a reflection on the type of work that they do. Those are very lucrative fields. So it's just not what brings me joy. It's not what comes with ease and flow. So I don't speak on those things, right? I only bring them up as an analogous sort of way. Please understand that, okay? So you have to know your propensity for risk. And I think the biggest concern a lot of people have right now, and rightfully so, is their 401k. And here's what I'm going to say about that. Okay, here's what I have to say about that. If the closer you are to retirement, the less of your investment mix should be in highly speculative instruments, right? And I'm not going to do a full breakdown in education, because that's just beyond the scope of this video, okay? So the closer you are to retirement, you need to be sitting down with someone, and you probably should do this at least once a year anyway. Sit down with someone who is a licensed professional and review your 401k, okay? It's probably not going to be free, and that's okay, right? It's probably not going to be free, and that is okay. But we have to get out of this. Land is really the only investment strategy. I don't know who told y'all that and why. And it probably was somebody who that's their own experience and their own business model. And so they're selling you courses for you to do what they did. Okay. And I'm not knocking that because I'm a course creator and I sell courses to do what I did, but you have to keep that in mind. Because even though I am a course creator and I sell courses to teach what I do, I still tell you to think for yourself, to know how to think for yourself and make decisions based on what's right for you. Okay. Because just like stocks and everything else can be manipulated, cereal prices can be manipulated, and so can land prices. You just have to know that. The entire game, the entire system is rigged against us, but that does not mean that we should not play. We just have to learn how to play and when to play. So the stock market is having some reaction right now. Reactions are part of the game. Okay. Reactions happen, right? And this is a good time to look at your mix, look at your propensity for risk, and look at the stage of life that you are in and make sure that your mix matches those things. There are online tools I'm sure that you can find that will help you with that. There are also professionals. You may even be able to get like a free review at your bank, depending on your bank. But you have to understand, like for me personally, a life insurance agent is not the person I would go to unless it were from, and I'm not going to name the company, they were from a certain company, right? Because if a person is a life insurance agent, they're likely not going to they're going to steer you away from mutual funds and other instruments because they get paid to sell you universal life. And so they're going to be more likely to make universal life the answer. And I'm not saying it is the answer. I'm not saying it isn't the answer. I'm just telling you a lot of people are going to have their angle, right? Going to have their angle. So keep that in mind. Okay. So the market is reacting. The market reacts. Here's what I can tell you. Over the long run, stocks win. The S&P 500 wins. The Dow wins. The NASDAQ wins over the long term. Okay. I know in recent years, there's been a lot of day trading that has popped up. That usually is not with instruments, financial instruments that are US based. That is usually foreign stock markets that they are playing in. And again, because of that, it's a lot more speculative and a lot more risky. Stocks are not really meant to be something that you day trade unless you are a legacy investor. And thank you. And I'm sure you know what I mean when I say a legacy investor. Okay. Because they are really meant for the long term. They do have their own version of what would be like the FDIC, which is SIPC, SIPC. And so you can look that up. You can go to MarketWatch, you can go to Investopedia, and you can learn more about that, right? There's a lot that it's just not even in me. It ain't on me to go through and teach all of that information, but I can tell you where to go and find it, okay? I can tell you where to go and find it. Investopedia, MarketWatch, CNBC, okay? Those are places that you can go and learn more about this. But the worst thing you can do right now is panic and make a move out of panic. That is always the worst thing to do in any situation, is to panic. You do not want to panic, okay? Because if you panic, you usually make not so good decisions, okay? So you don't want to panic right now. You don't want to go in panic mode and react out of panic, right? You want to call in whoever is your financial advisor. And if you don't have one, you probably want to get one. But the stock, if you think that like the Great Depression type of drop is happening, I wouldn't, again, I wouldn't think that that's what's going to be happening right now. So I would, again, not make decisions out of panic and do crazy stuff like dump a bunch of stuff, right? Because when it comes to the stock market, there's buying low and selling high. So what a lot of people are going to do right now is they're going to scoop up a lot of stocks that have dropped in value so that when it goes back up, they pick up on the upswing, right? So one thing I like to do is quarterly kind of look at where things are. And I know I have a little more advanced knowledge than most, but I like to look quarterly. And as usually, if I see something is down over one quarter, I usually don't change it just yet. I like to see it be a longer term thing before I do. Or you can set in your mind or even on paper what your bottom is. If it hits this point, then I'm out. That is fair to do. That is much more intelligent than just blind reacting to the market. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind. Okay, you got to do what's best for the long term. And if you have this strong urge right now to just dump things, that probably means you need to look at your propensity for risk and maybe make some shifts, because you just might not be able to stomach the ups and downs like right now. And you're going to see a lot of ups and downs, especially during the next 12 months, right? Because every time there is a major run, people don't talk about this side of it. Just because there is a major run, meaning things are on the upswing, and you'll hear that as a bull market, doesn't mean that some things are overpriced, right? And so then the market will correct itself and the prices of those things will come down, and then people get upset because they are looking from a short-term lens and not looking at, okay, well, I've held this for this many years and it's actually still up from when I first bought it. They're looking at from when it was at its peak and comparing it, and that's just not an intelligent decision. And this is why you need a strong financial advisor on your team to help check you when you start thinking and talking crazy, right? It's just like, someone who is in recovery because they, tend to overdo it with drinking, right? And they go through those 12 steps, right? They have a sponsor. There's a reason they have a sponsor to talk them out of making a mistake and backtracking. And that's why you need to have a team and not do things on your own. Okay. Now, as a, actually, hold on one second. I'll be right back. Now, speaking as someone, I still forgot my lip stuff. Now, speaking as someone who is building businesses online, who is, has a coaching business, right? So again, when we speak of self-concept, people are going to be a little doggish and want to think, oh, nobody's going to buy my product. Nobody's buying right now. Yes, they are. Because if you know anything about consumer buying cycles, they're the two money times of the year. First of all, you can make money all year long. You don't have to only make money seasonally. if you diversify, I know that's such a dirty word these days. If you diversify your income streams, you can and will make money all year long. Okay? So, but the two biggest money circulation times are the holidays, of course, but also during February and March, there is this window when people are getting their tax refunds and company bonuses are also going out, right? But actually, the bonuses start the end of the year. Some people get them in December. I've worked where I got them in February, by mid-February, right? So usually sometime in that first quarter, people get paid, and I mean hefty bonuses. I'm not talking like a couple $100s, right? So starting in mid-December through probably mid-March, there is billions of dollars in circulation. A lot of people assume the money flow ends with the holidays, and that is not the case. That is not the case. There is so much money in circulation right now. It's almost doesn't even matter what happens with the stock market. The stock market crashing does not mean that the circulation of money is going to come to an immediate halt. There is a lag between those things, right? So, for example, last Friday was the economic blackout. The real impact of that won't be known for months. And then once it's known, that may or may not have an impact on stock prices at the time. So I'm telling you all of this to understand that the stock market right now may be in some sort of downfall. However, it's likely short term. Embrace yourself, because we're probably going to see a lot of up and down over the course of the next few months, if not next year or even 4 years, right? Because everybody is very reactionary to a certain person and what this person does and says. And I think you know exactly who I'm talking about, okay? So just because the stock market is looking a little cray-cray right now does not mean that you should, run for the hills and assume the worst. You should have multiple streams of income, and you should be able to pivot and just know that your customer is likely still buying. This is also a good time to review who it is that is your quote unquote target, your ideal client, and look at upping your value and your skills so that you can reach a higher income ideal client, because they are going to be impacted, yes, but you can still price yourself to be attractive to them and, make sure you're high value, right? For example, I know that digital marketing is a highly valued and in demand skill set, right? I also know there is a market that definitely sees the value, but they don't want to pay for it. And that's not my ideal client. And I price myself accordingly so that I don't get caught trying to work with people who want the wins, but they don't want what comes with getting the wins. That includes paying for it, right? They'd rather go get the free value and their business continue to stay stuck, but they feel good because they didn't feel the pain of paying for what it is that they actually want. And I don't know about you, but I am a-okay with that, because I am not interested in serving people who are going to make my life difficult, and they aren't even paying me enough to make my life difficult. You know what I mean? There are people who they, feel like they own you, and they paid the least amount for your time, talent, and expertise. And I personally don't get down like that. I just don't. You're not going to be talking crazy to me, treating me crazy over a few $100s a month, right? One of the things I see as someone who is very skilled at what they do, which is digital marketing, is, I see people who, well, how much would your services cost? Honey, in most cases, there's not an amount that you could pay me to manage your social media, because I know what comes with that. I know what comes with that, right? To me, I personally, unless I was like a celebrity, and a lot of them actually manage their own social media. Y'all don't even realize that. Those people are managing. Now, they might be paying for someone else to take the photo, take the video, edit it, and all that, but they're actually the ones posting to their social media and directing it. Yet y'all want to, pass it off to someone else, pay them minimally, and then expect them to make you a millionaire. And it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. In fact, I'm not a social media marketing manager. I'm a digital marketing strategist. So, and social media marketing is part of that, but it's not everything that I do, right? It's a whole hog. My family's from Mississippi. It's a whole hog approach to what I do. And that is offline, online, that's digital, that's email, that's lead generation, that's conversions, that's webinars, that's live video streaming, that's repurposing, resharing, and distributing. There's a whole lot more to what I do. And so, yeah, there's no way you can pay me $300-500 a month, even $1,200 a month, and think you're going to get the kind of results that I get from social media, because I know the hours, I know the time, I know the talent and the expertise that I put into what I do for myself, and I wouldn't do any less for my clients. And so, yeah, that's a pretty time consuming thing. So, and most of y'all just want pretty pictures anyway, and that doesn't convert. That's not what converts. That's not what makes someone buy from you. There's sales psychology. There's so many moving pieces to this. And that is why digital marketing is a highly paid and in demand skill set. And that is why I am continually increasing the value of my ideal client, so that I'm working with those who actually understand that this is not a make one post and boom, it happens, right? Even though you may see other people make one post and it happens, you forgot about the other 357,000 posts that they did leading up to that one. Now that number is exaggerated, but just know that. So I'm going to get out of the bathroom. I've got some other things to do this morning, but I was like, well, I'm going to, put on a little makeup. And while I'm doing that, I might as well multitask, and go live. So I did, and I will catch you on the next one.